Okay. The snake diet. I posted a video yesterday saying that I was going on the snake diet. And my wife is in the background being a dork, trying to make me smile, which isn't working. Okay, so what is the snake diet? Well, first, before I let you know what the snake diet is, it is. I want to address a couple of lies that we've all been told about diet. It is so frustrating because I remember in elementary school having to make a 3-meal plan based on the 4 food groups, the pyramid, whole grains, the whole 9 yards. So a couple of lies about diet. Just a couple. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's a lie. I'll get into some of these lies later in more detail, but that's a lie. I don't know if you know that's a lie, but it's a lie. Eating 6 times a day is better than eating less than that because you keep your insulin levels stabilized. Well, that is true depending on how you do it, but it is far better to only eat once a day. And I'll get into that. Eating 6 times a day is a lie. This is a serious video!
I know, it is serious.
So serious. It is pretty exciting though.
Sorry, baby.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure you're sorry. Okay, lie number 3. Eating whole grain. Well, going back to the food pyramid, having whole grains being should be the bulk of your food. Lots of fiber, lots of whole grain. Well, I don't have anything particularly against fiber, but whole grains and fiber sort of go hand in hand. Eating whole grains is a lie. You don't need whole grains. It kills you. Eating whole grains turns to sugar, spikes your insulin, and creates inflammation. So, eating whole grains, not a great idea. Fat is bad. Fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. Fat's good. Your body uses fat for fuel. Line number 4. Salt is bad. I'm pretty sure salt isn't bad because you can go to the ER. I know, I've worked in an ER. They put an IV in your bloodstream that's a saline IV. That means it's salt water. And guess what? You start feeling better, along with whatever else they're doing for you. But that's the first thing they do most of the time is get you on an IV with salt water. So line number, what are we at? Line number 5, salt is bad for you. Okay, so those are the lies that my wife and I have been uncovering for the last couple of years. And now let's get into the snake diet. The snake diet is basically based upon modeling how snakes eat. They don't eat every day. They don't eat multiple times a day. They eat one time, and then they rest and assimilate the nutrition, and they're basically fasting most of the time. So the snake diet is controlled, methodical, responsible fasting. It's not starving. It's not becoming anorexic. It's a thoughtful way of letting your body function properly. There are 3 keys to health management / weight management. And it has nothing to do with drugs, just so you know. If you're unhealthy, it's not because you have a drug deficiency. Okay, let's get into it. Your eating frequency, your caloric intake, and your insulin levels. Those 3 keys will determine if you're healthy or not. So your eating frequency, you want to eat as little as possible. And the reason for that is because every time you eat, even if it is on a ketogenic diet, your insulin goes up. Insulin is bad, just so you know. So with those 3 factors in mind, eating frequency, caloric intake, and insulin levels, the snake diet addresses all 3. Because when you're fasting, you're not eating at all, you have 0 calories, and your insulin levels are rock bottom. So it's kind of like the perfect solution. I remember growing up thinking that hunger was bad, thinking that starving yourself was some kind of sign of a mental illness, like anorexia, that starving yourself was a sign of, being depressed about your weight. Starving yourself was all these different negative things. Okay, starving yourself, if you're lean, if you have zero body fat and you starve yourself, you're anorexic, and you probably don't have a very good body image. If you're fat, you have enough energy in your fat where fasting isn't starving yourself. It's literally just using up the energy you have, because you don't need to eat if you're fat. So how is this safe? Well, if you stopped eating and did a water fast, just straight water, tap water or bottled water, whatever it is, you would feel pretty horrible because your electrolytes are being depleted. So to combat that, you need snake juice. Snake juice is water solution with salt and potassium and like baking soda and lemon juice and apple cider vinegar. You can do it a lot of different ways, but the main thing is the salt and the potassium. And I'll be putting a picture up of the snake juice diet formula, and so I don't have to explain all of that. But if you're getting your salt, potassium in, you don't need anything else because your nutrition is coming from your fat. Okay, and let's see here. Whoa, my selfie stick's going crazy. So the last thing I'm going to cover is this fasting made simple, the stages of fasting. Your first 24 to 48 hours, you're really not accomplishing a lot except for allowing your liver to empty itself of its stored glycogen. Once your liver is fully emptied of glycogen, it can start going to town on the fat you have on your body and converting that into sugar, converting it into the energy you need to maintain your life. Okay, so after 48 hours, really the fast begins, because then your liver is literally every time you pee, you're peeing out fat. True. After 48 hours plus, you are in pure ketosis. Your body is living off your own fat. How do you know when to stop fasting? When your fat is gone, basically. So I'm not going to do that. I'm been fasting for 4 days. My 4th day will be complete tonight at 8 o'clock. And I'm probably going to end my fast at 6 because I don't want to eat late. What I'm going to do is fast while I'm working at work, so 4-day fasting, and then eat 1 meal a day on my days off. Psychologically, I think that's going to keep me sane. So this is my 4th day fasting, and I feel okay. Mentally, I really want to eat. I'm not super hungry. If I keep my mind distracted, I feel fine. Like, I feel a little just really empty, which isn't a bad thing, but you don't really feel that until you've gone a couple days without food, and I've gone 4 days without food. So that's the snake diet. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to put a link to this guy's page, his YouTube. I highly recommend everybody going and watching his stuff, but I have to give a disclaimer. If you don't like being called fatty, if you don't like hearing the F-bomb every 5 seconds, if you don't like being yelled at, maybe you shouldn't watch his stuff because he's very aggressive, but he wants to get people's attention. So the YouTube channel is Snake Diet, and he's got a Facebook page. I'm going to be trying to duplicate some of his information, mainly because his information is so good, but it's encapsulated with a lot of aggressive yelling, a lot of cursing, a lot of swearing, which isn't bad for most people, but I'm personally going to kind of redo some of his information and give him credit, but tone it down because it can be a little bit much for people who aren't used to hearing it. So anyway, I will keep you updated. Oh, the final update. 4 days. It hasn't even been 4 days. I've lost 10 pounds. So yeah, and I feel fine. And the reason why I feel fine is because I'm drinking that snake juice. I'm keeping my electrolytes up. I'm fine. I feel fine. I've never gone 4 days without food ever in my life, and I feel fine. So I will keep you guys updated.